Hello and welcome. Today we're going to uncover some magic words. Now, I'm not talking about abracadabra or anything like that. These words have a different kind of magic. They make our stories and our chats sound so much better. Let's see how they work.
Okay, just take a look at these two sentences. The one on the left says, Rohan said that Rohan is going to the park and Rohan wants Priya to come with Rohan. Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Saying Rohan again and again feels a little clunky. But now look at the one on the right. Rohan said that he is going to the park and he wants Priya to come with him. See? That sounds way better. Those tiny little words, he and him, make a huge difference.
So, what is the secret? How did we make that sentence sound so much better all of a sudden? Well, it's all about using some very special shortcut words. Let's go find out what they are. These magic words are called pronouns. And really, a pronoun is just a shortcut word we use instead of a noun. So, instead of having to say a name, like Rohan or Priya, over and over again, we can just pop in a handy little pronoun to make everything easier. Now, to really see how this works, let's go join our friends Rohan and Priya. They're playing in their neighborhood park. Just listen closely to the shortcut words they use when they talk to each other. So, when Rohan wants to talk about himself, he doesn't say, Rohan wants to play. That would just sound a little strange, right? Instead, he points to himself and says, I want to play. When we use words like I or me to talk about ourselves, we're speaking in what's called the first person. Okay, so what happens when Rohan talks directly to Priya? Well, he points at her and says, you are my best friend. That word, you, is the shortcut for the person you're speaking to. We call this the second person. And look, over in the distance, Rohan and Priya see their friend Arjun flying a kite. Now, instead of shouting, Arjun is flying a kite, they can just point and say, look, he is flying a kite. See how easy that is? When we talk about someone else, we use words like he, she, or they. And you guessed it, this is the third person.
That all seems pretty simple, right? But what happens if more friends come to join the game? Do our magic shortcut words change? Let's find out.
Of course they do. Our shortcut words change depending on whether we're talking about just one person, that's singular, or lots of people, which is plural. So for example, I becomes we as soon as your friends join you, and he or she becomes they when you're talking about the whole group. The only tricky one here is you. It actually stays the same whether you're talking to one friend or 100 of them. But wait, these words have another really cool power. They can also tell us if we're talking about a boy, a girl, or maybe even the friendly neighborhood dog. And it's really, really simple. For boys and men, we use what are called masculine pronouns, like he and him. For girls and women, we use feminine ones, like she and her. And for things, like a cricket bat, or for animals, and sometimes even for tiny babies, we use the neuter pronoun, which is it. All right, it's time for another little secret. In every sentence, there's someone who is doing an action and someone who is receiving it. Let's see how pronouns help us figure out who's who. The pronoun that's doing the action is what we call the doer. You can think of them as the star of the sentence. So in this first example, she throws the ball. The pronoun she is the doer. Now, the pronoun that receives the action is the receiver. In the second example, the ball hit her. You see the difference? She is the doer who acts, and her is the receiver who has the action happen to her. Oh, look at that! While they were playing, it looks like someone left their school bag near the bench. But don't you worry, pronouns are here to help us solve the mystery. Let's see how our friends figure out whose bag this is. So Priya picks up the bag.
She turns to Rohan, holds it up, and asks him if it's his.
Rohan takes a look, shakes his head, and says, "No, that bag is not mine." See? That one little word, mine, tells us very clearly that the bag doesn't belong to him.
Then, Priya spots their friend Seema's water bottle sitting right next to the bag. "Aha," she says, "maybe the bag is hers." And then she points to Arjun's toy car and adds, "And that toy is his." You see, words like mine, yours, his, hers, and theirs are super helpful. They're called possessive pronouns, and they're the shortcuts that show us who owns what.
You are doing so great. Now, before we finish up, let's just go over a couple of really polite rules for using these pronouns. You can think of them like remembering to say please and thank you.
Okay, first, it is always polite to mention your friend before you mention yourself. So you should say, Priya and I are playing, not I and Priya. And second, when something is happening to both of you, you should use the word me. For example, the teacher gave sweets to Rohan and me. It's just a simple little trick that helps you sound extra smart and polite.
And there we go. By using these simple shortcut words, pronouns, we can tell our stories so much more clearly. We learned about who is talking, if it's one person or many, and even some polite ways to use them. You, he, and I all did a fantastic job today.
So that's our look into the magic of pronouns. You now have a secret superpower for telling better stories. So here's a fun challenge for you. The next time you pick up a storybook, try to be a pronoun detective. See how many of these shortcut words like he, she, they, and we you can find. I bet you'll be surprised by how many are hiding on every single page. Thanks for joining me and happy reading.